Gideon, buddy, how are you going, man?
I'm good. I'm in Paris.
You are, and you only just arrived, which is a crazy thing about about all this. You arrived about 10 minutes ago or something.
And I got into my room 15 minutes ago, 20 minutes ago.
And what, have you had something to eat?
No, I just had a banana now and a very dry pastry.
That's all. That's all you need. That's all you need you just need a little bit of energy just to get by the next 1.5 to 2 hours talking to me. Awesome to have you back, buddy.
Yeah.
It's been 7 weeks and 1 day.
Yeah. That was very early on. So that was in Happy Town. The happy town of Glückstadt.
Glückstadt,
yeah. And that was actually, I'll do an introduction here with why I started all this. Maybe that'll come naturally.
Absolutely, yes.
Let's get a little recap. Well, yes, but what was interesting about Glückstadt was that because there's the Elbe, or a river, so you had to, if you wanted, the fastest way would be to take the ferry across the river. And then there would be 2 days from Glückstadt to Hasselfeld, or Hasselfeld. But I knew in my heart that morning that I was supposed to take the ferry, that if I did that, I would regret it for the rest of my life, that I didn't walk the whole way. So that day I decided to go all the way down to Hamburg and around, because there was a tunnel there underneath the river. Nice. So that was sort of the day how that continued on from there. But and
can we just add? Sorry to interrupt, but roughly, what are we talking about kilometer difference here? Like for you to walk?
Yeah. It would have taken me 2 days to get to Hasselfeld if I had taken the ferry and went across, but I think it took me 5 days. I think.
Yep.
So definitely more than double the distance. Yeah.
Nice.
So,
good work.
Yeah. So now I have no regrets, which is great.
Fantastic.
So of course, a lot of people have followed my videos, and a lot more over the last. So my subscribers have doubled since I left, and that's pretty cool. And but for people who maybe not have the idea of why I started all this, I actually can't really say why, in the sense that it was not just a personal decision that this is a personal decision. I'm doing this. I'm totally doing this totally based on faith. That this idea, this inspiration that came to me when I was at the ocean, because I had just broken up with the relationship that we had in early May, and 1 month I spent just walking every day for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hours a day, just to process that whole new experience and that whole new situation. Because it was very weird and abrupt. What do you say? Abrupt. So a month had passed, and I was at the ocean, and all of a sudden, this idea of walking from Denmark to Santiago just came to me out of nowhere, and that was the only thing that really genuinely made me smile for a month. That really, I could genuinely feel that this made me smile. This idea made sense,
And just and can you just recap how far is it from Viborg to Santiago, just so people get an idea of the distance here?
Yeah. So in total, because I walked to Hamburg, it's probably a bit more that I have walked, but. Right now it's 1,600, and you'd say that there's about 2,000 from Paris to Santiago. So, but I have to go all the way to the coast. So in total, it will actually mean that I've walked about 3,700 kilometers when I'm done. And what is crazy
and that made you smile. Oh, that is so crazy.
We'll get to that. There's a lot of things that has not made me smile. What was I going to say? So
you were going to walk there, and you walked every day for a couple of days, and that was the only thing that made you smile. And you had this thought you were going to walk to Santiago, where you've been a couple of times before doing the Camino walk.
Mm-hmm.
And that was going to be roughly a total of about 3,700 kilometers.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes, and so that day, fortunately, I was going to share lunch with my parents. We met out there at the at that ocean area, and I shared what had happened to me then, because they knew that I was what I was going through, but sharing it with someone, or sharing it with them, just made me even more smile. I smiled even more. Like it genuinely just felt like. It made no sense other than doing this, because that is that's why I'm walking. That's the only reason why I'm walking. There is no decision of, of course after that there's like, okay, I want to renew my life or walk towards something new. That is literally what I'm doing. But it's totally based on faith. And when I wake up in the morning and I'm walking, or if I'm about to go to sleep and I am looking to the next day or whatever, there's something inside of me that is making me walk.
But it's probably important also just to reiterate here that when you say faith, it's not.
No, it's not religious.
Faith. Yeah, exactly.
No, it's total based on an energy faith, or that this is just something I'm supposed to do.
Yeah.
And I can't really explain why, and that actually makes it a bit easier, I think. But
But when we spoke, I remember when we spoke last time, you mentioned that that you weren't 100% sure if you were going to go all the way. Like you might stop at some stage and say, look, that's it and stuff. Has any of that thought process changed? Have you sort of switched a little bit and saying, look, I'm definitely going to go ahead, or are you still sort of having the same doubt whether it is something you're going to actually complete?
No. I'm 100% going to continue until the end.
What made you change? Because I'm so glad to hear that.
Yeah, I think that I know that it was not the walk itself that's important, or that's not true. The destinations are not what's important. It is the journey. Like, it's such a cliche, whatever. Obviously those are often the truth, but yeah, I think I don't know if it was doubt. If it had nothing to do with doubt or that inability to do it. It was just that was not the important part of it. And I think Paris was sort of a destination where I knew that if or when I'm entering Paris or getting to Paris, I know I can finish, because it's, first of all, I have not been heading towards Santiago now. I've been heading sort of west for a while, and after Paris, it's just straight south directly to the goal every single day. And I think that'll make a big difference.
Nice.
So I think it's been sort of an openness to, that if something really changes, whatever that might be, then the destinations are not as important as to the clarity of changing, the reason for walking or doing something else. But I think it also has been part of that first phase of the journey, that I call the physical part of the journey that we have talked about before, that it just takes time to get used to. And this time it took me, this was 10 or 20 days after we talked. It took me 30 to 40 days to really feel comfortable, to really feel like, okay, this is what I'm doing every day. And also with my legs, that it really took that long before I felt like, okay, I can do this every day now. So it took a long time, a lot longer than the other walks.
That is, again, it's the old saying it takes about 3 weeks to break a habit, or takes 3 weeks to get comfortable with change. But here, if you're saying so, it took you just over a month, sort of, to get comfortable, or to have faith, if to use your own word. What do you think sort of made your mindset transition there, about that 1 month mark?
I mean, the first time I felt like, okay, I can do this, that was actually after I had sent back some stuff that I didn't need. I had brought way too much, or not way too much, but I had brought too much, so that I carried way too much.
Right.
I sent that back already 10 days after. So weight-wise, I knew after I had done that, okay, I can do this. I can definitely carry what I have, no problem. I'm good. So that was sort of the weight issue. But then I think it took me, I'll have to look at what made the change. I think it I don't know, actually. I think it just took those month, 40 days
right.
to just get comfortable. Also, that this is my life now. Right now, I mean, this is really, that is, and I think that has also taken some time to actually understand that this is my life, and it will not end for a long time. I mean, the Caminos, those took about a month, so you already know that when you start and you walk for a week or two, that this will end soon. But this is going on
absolutely.
This is going on for so long that
Yep. And you've been walking for. You've been walking for how long now? Two and a bit months?
Days.
Yep.
72 days.
So almost 2.5 months. And you're not even halfway. So it's going to be your life for another couple of months.
Yeah.
How's the weather anyway at the moment? Because it's obviously it's peak of summer at the moment in Europe.
Yeah, it's very good. It's very good today. It's been a bit cloudy the last week or last few days. It rained a lot 2 days ago. Where one of those days where it just pours down for like an hour or two, and life is less exciting.
How do you handle that?
Yeah, I mean it's easy now. I mean, easier, I'd say. But that day, I knew. Yeah, we'll get back to that, I guess, too. But that day, I knew I had a short day, so that I had to walk less than 20, and I already knew I had a place to stay. So that by itself, that in itself, when you know that where you're going to sleep, it makes it's like the factor of motivation is like huge. It's like it's the difference. Like if you know where you're staying, it doesn't really matter. Like it's amazing the difference in the stress of the mind, because you know that you'll have to spend time figuring that out at some point if you don't have it already figured out. There's just no way around it. I mean, unless you want to sleep on a bench or wherever you were just walking, But
so have you done that? Like, what's the craziest place you've slept?
There's probably craziest place.
Or try and give me a couple of examples. So if you're saying if you haven't got something sorted, and like,
yes.
I don't know, worst case scenario, what happens then? Like, where do you sleep?
Yeah, so of course I have a tent to my disposal. So in any case I have nowhere to go, I could probably find a patch of green somewhere, and put that up. So, but the other day, so that was, and I went into Doman. That was 3 or 4 days ago, and I knew there was a camping site. So as always, you just walk and you walk and you walk, and you know that there's a camping site. And then I saw the camping site, and then I just walked straight into the camping site, and then somebody yelled, "Hey, where?" And there was these 3 older people sitting on chairs, and he seemed a bit upset or something, or kind of unfriendly, or it didn't feel like he was sort of happy, or I don't know. So I responded with, "Okay, I didn't know where the reception was," and because I just thought that it's inside the camping area, which it usually is. And then he said, because it's a wine country, I was walking in wine country for the whole time, basically until Paris here, which has been really beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah.
But so all you see is white vans and people picking grapes all over the place. There is nothing else. There's not even animals. It's just wine all over the place. But this camping site apparently was only for the workers of this area or whatever. So so I came there at 6:00, and I walked for 35 kilometers, and they told me, "Okay, you can't stay here. You can stay down the river. There's, places to stay, or, where you can set up a tent or something." And I was like, Christ. And I had to work still. I'm still working, and a few hours a day, and I had to eat something as well. So I thought, okay, the best place, that's one of those situations where, okay, first is first, So I need to find a place to stay, or I need to find a place to work. That's because I need to get that in. I need to eat as well. So of course a restaurant or something is ideal, because then I can do both. So I went all the way back into the city, or to the town, and then it was the very last hotel. I went the opposite way of how I came in, and I walked in, and he said, that I could stay there. There was internet, restaurant. Okay, yes, it's 8:00, and that was like 6:30 or whatever. So I was like, okay, I need to just do this first now. So I sat down, got a drink or whatever, and started to work and whatever. What was so interesting was that around 7:30 or 8, he turned a couple that went in and asked if they could eat at the restaurant, and he said their restaurant is closed, and he sent them away. And I just sat there working. I was like, okay, what's going on, And when he came over a little later, and he said, we eat at 8:30, and then he closed the restaurant. And he just took the blinders down, or whatever, the shutters, so that the whole place was just closed. And there was his friend or something was in there as well.
And you were still there. So he let you stay.
I guess so.
Oh wow.
So I just sat in there working, and then he all of a sudden he said, because I really can't speak any French, so it's very body language almost only. But then he said, table's ready. And then we went into a restaurant. He had set up 2 tables for me and his friend, and then I got a 3-course dinner, and of course I paid for it, but it was just sort of, I felt so grateful and emotional as I was eating there, because I was like, even though that he probably felt some kind of integrity that he had already said to me that there was, so there was going to be food at 8:00. So I think, but he just seemed such a really nice guy, and for some reason I just felt like, okay, I'm grateful. I sit here at 9:30 o'clock, 9:30, or it was late. I have nowhere to go right now, but I'm grateful that he gave me all this food and just took care of me, really. And then we had a really nice moment in terms of our eye contact when I went out and left. And then I was like, screw those freaking guys at the campsite. I'm gonna go back, So I went back to the campsite, and I already sort of scouted that, in the back there was a sort of a path outside the camping site, so I could look in, and I saw places where there was definitely room, and it's one of those times where I'm like, I'm just like, why can't you just allow one human to do that instead of all the stupid rules?
Did you?
So I just went in.
Had you told them what you were doing? Have you told them, your trip, you're walking to Spain and all that?
No.
Okay.
Sometimes I'm not very good at that. I just take a rejection, and then I say screw you guys.
Right.
But I went straight in, and I was like, okay, I just need to be low profile. So I went just straight in as I had done earlier in the day, or at 6:00. I went straight to the back of the camping site and set up my tent in the pretty much dark, and no one cared. I mean, no one could see who I was, And then, but what was interesting was that the guy who turned me away when I was waiting for outside, I think it was a toilet or something, he walks right in front of me, and I was like, shit. So he didn't see who I was. So, but so it went fine. I woke up early as well and took off. So,
how many people was at that campsite?
Many hundreds.
Right. Oh wow. Okay.
So because it was workers. So everybody started to wake up at 6:00 in the morning because all the vans and people came to pick all the workers up for grape picking.
Right.
So,
right.
Yeah.
What about that other guy at the restaurant? Like, did he have any clue about you being a traveling vagabond or a nomad, just roaming around France, one country?
I don't. Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, the Camino obviously, or the path goes where I'm going, I guess. So, I mean, I think many do have an idea, but I also think that many don't, because it's more common after Paris, or closer to Spain. But I mean, every place I am, I get a stamp in my pilgrim passport. I could just try and find that. So if you are, usually I get it where I sleep, but obviously it was not possible. So fortunately, I could get it. I could get it at the restaurant where he was. So this is all like stamps of where I've been.
Wow.
So this top one is the cathedral in Viborg.
On the 22nd of June.
Yeah.
And now we're at the 1st of September.
Yeah. So this is going to be double
Shit.
as
Gonna run out of space, buddy.
Yeah, I'm going to go to a place tomorrow to actually buy one more to attach to this one.
Man, it's so surreal, man. It's I can't honestly. How is the mindset like? Because right now, like I said, you're not even halfway. You've been doing this for since the 22nd of June, nearly 2.5 months. Are you committed? Are you like, I'm doing this? I'm feeling good. What's the focus?
What is interesting is that the last handful of days I've been struggling a lot. I've really seen the darkness of myself. I mean, it's been very, very dark. And it's interesting because I was reminded of, the marathon we did when we did the marathon last year. Right?
But a marathon compared to what you're doing here is nothing.
No, but my point is that at the very end of the marathon, my ego or my weak mind or whatever you want to call it said, you can quit now, even though there was like 2 kilometers left. There was 1 kilometer left. My mind said, you can quit now. You can quit now. You can quit now. It's 500 meters, but you can quit now. And getting closer and closer to Paris, because it actually took a lot longer than I thought. I mean, not a lot longer, but it took longer than I thought. I thought it would be there. What is it today? Yeah, I thought it would be there 2 days ago.
The first, yeah.
Yeah.
Tuesday,
so, and yeah, it was not a breakdown, but it was sort of like, holy hell, I haven't even walked halfway. Like maybe I should quit now. Maybe this is it, or all these things come in, and I think it's one of the only times, like over the last month, that I've been thinking about that, or thinking like that. And I think it's just because when you get close to the finish, this was sort of a finish for now. I mean, sort of a milestone, But I think it was similar to the marathon idea, that you were so close to the goal that the idea of quitting actually came more up than before, than earlier in the race or on this trip, because you're so close. I mean, of course, this is a different thing because I still have far to go, but it was just sort of, this experience of being close to the goal, the initial goal that was Paris, but also being so far from whatever the end is, So that definitely got to me a little bit.
So how did you overcome that? Because I mean, it's very normal to have doubt, especially when you're on like a what it would be like 5 or 6 months walking trip. But regardless of what you're doing, whether it's a marathon, whether you're walking halfway across Europe, or whether you're doing anything else that's sort of a little bit uncertain, it's very normal to have doubt. But the most important thing is sort of how you overcome it and move on. So what do you think of what made you come out of that darkness or that doubt you had?
It's so simple.
Keep walking.
It's I really, the video that you just put on, that when there was a sequence in the video where I showed my feet and I talked about that's really is what's so beautiful about walking far. I really think that it teaches you everything you need to know. Because it's such a metaphor for everything.
It is
in life.
Yep.
And like we talked about this last time, we talked about you showed the video with the rain where everything sucked,
Yeah.
and it's like there's nothing you can do but taking the steps ever. I mean, with anything, you need to go through things, you need to walk away from things, you need to walk towards things.
Yep.
But if you stand still,
I've got some light turning on.
If you stand still, well, I mean, if it pours down rain and if it sucks to hell that your feet hurts or whatever, I mean, if you just stand still and do nothing will happen, And it's so obvious. But it's the consistency of learning that every single day, of understanding that, or of doing that every single day. It's every single day I need to find a new place to sleep. Every single day I need to do the kind of the same thing, but every day I go deeper within myself. Every day I go to a place where I'm challenged. Every day is a challenge, and there's so many things that goes into this, and I haven't wrapped my head around it yet, really. How many things that are involved in this kind of a in this kind of a experience, but also in a kind of in life, it just seems like everything comes together in some odd way, and you learn from and with everything. I mean, it's.
But that's again another beautiful thing, about moving forward. As long as you keep going, like needless to say, you're gonna get closer to your goal. But you also, like, you will learn along the way. You learn about yourself. You learn about your surroundings. It's it's a given. The second you stop, that is when you aren't progressing anymore. Like it's that simple. But yeah, it's the same. It's the same with like if you're in a band, if you have a business, if you're studying, like if you want to sort of advance your career, you gotta keep going. You gotta keep moving forward. And yes, as you said as well, some days it's gonna be rain, some days it's gonna be really, really horrible, and they're the days where you where it feels so much more rewarding coming out on the other side because you push through those dark days or the rainy days.
Yeah. And that's another thing that I love to share is that every single day, I said that last time too, but it's even more now, that every day, I mean, of course, some days I know where I'm sleeping, like today, and other days I don't, but every single day I get a feeling of gratitude of getting a shower, getting something to eat, and those very basic things. And I'm actually feeling grateful for it. A couple of days ago, I felt grateful for plugging my computer into the socket to get power. It's a very, very, like, it was not like a big explosion of gratitude, but it was just like, okay, cool. Just the conscious experience of that was actually something that was nice. It's so, like, when you live in one place, and this is not to talk down that you have a place that one is comfortable. It's not what I'm trying to say here, but if you live in one place and you've lived there for a long time and you go out for a run, you know that there's a shower waiting for you. Do you know that the comforts of a refrigerator with food is there? There's tea and whatever else is there. So you're not. It's so comfortable and it's so habitual that you actually have a less chance of being grateful for any of that because it's just habit that you have that. And I've been there myself, but it's also like every day just being able to have a chance to be or feel grateful just for those basic things. That is really nice to actually be able to experience so often. And it
must be very humbling, for sure.
Yeah. And I mean, I know that I'm changing, this trip is changing me slowly. But I can't really wrap my head around what is happening. I mean, everything is so subtle and so slow and so, I guess, in some ways natural that I think it will take a lot of time to. I mean, maybe the journey itself will just change me, and then it'll just be different or feel different, or whatever. But that's definitely, I don't know.
Yeah, look, it's been it's been really sort of fascinating to sort of be on the sideline and see it, especially as you mentioned. You say if you say it took you just over 30 days to get comfortable. Last time we spoke was day number 22, and obviously when we spoke last time, there was a bit of emotion in there as well. I think again, like I think you're also sort of reflecting a bit about your recent breakup and sort of and obviously the journey ahead. But again, like you seem a lot more focused now, a lot more like changed, just to use your own word, which is really awesome to see. So I'd love to sort of maybe hear a bit more about what has happened in the last 7 weeks. I know your brothers came and joined you at some stage. Yeah. You have a video of them sort of following you for a couple of days. Could you tell us how that happened and how that was?
Yeah. So, I mean, to make people aware of, so I walked from Denmark for 8, was that close to a bit more than 2 weeks? And then I walked into Germany and down to Glückstadt, then through Hamburg, because I didn't want to, so Germany and then down to Hamburg and towards Belgium and then through Belgium and into France. So, my brothers and I, they have also hiked. My Benjamin, my younger brother, he has hiked in both Greenland and in what's it called? Mount Everest land.
That's pretty cool.
Mount Everest.
Nepal, yeah.
Nepal, yes.
Yeah.
The Annapurna Circle. That
would be pretty easy for him then, just to walk in a straight line with the cows. And my youngest brother, he has walked in Japan on the Shikoku Island, where it's called the 88 Temple Trail. That takes, I think he was away for 2.5 months. Wow.
It was
wow.
1,300 kilometers. But he went to a lot of other temples. He might be the only one in the world who ever went to all the temples, because there's more than 88 temples, and he went to many other all the other temples that were sort of off track. So he might be the only one who's ever done that.
Well, it is it with you guys and walking crazy long distances. That's crazy.
So of course we like, so we like adventures. And my younger brother, he has a daughter and a kid on the way here. In 2 weeks, they'll have their second one. So he has a bit of a harder time getting away for too long, of course. Absolutely. But they came down. We had talked about walking, actually, before I even went away. We had talked about walking either in France around the Mont Blanc. You can walk around that mountain, and you can also walk from the Matterhorn mountain, the Toblerone mountain in Switzerland, and then there's a route that goes from there to Mont Blanc in France. Some really cool routes. So we had talked about doing that over the last year, but then because of how my life turned out right now, we decided that they came and joined me for it was close to a week. We had 4 full days of walking, and then they just took the train down, and I met them at the station. Yes, it's called Steinfeld, I think. Steinfeld. I think, but I will have to look.
So they arrived there, and then what? You just went straight into it. You didn't go out and had a couple of beers or anything.
We had a short walking day that day, actually.
Right.
But let me see here.
Are you still sober, by the way?
Yeah.
When's the last time you had a drink?
That was just before New Year's in 2018.
Nice. That's about the same. Yeah. Same here, man.
Yeah.
Wicked, man. Good man.
Let me see. Kroger Dame. I forget the name, but I think it was called Steinfeld or something. But yeah, they came, and we had a short first walking day, and then we had a few full walking days. And the last full day we had together, I took a break. I needed a break. So we spent the last 2 full days at a campsite where we walked into the campsite and stayed the night, and then we stayed for 1 full day. And that was needed, but also a nice way to just be together there. So,
I was about to say, like have some quality time with your brothers.
Yeah. So definitely not the longest days. I think we walked 20, 25. But it was really nice to be able to be with them, and because there is no one, I don't meet anybody really. I mean, there is no pilgrims. No one is walking. I mean, the most people I've seen traveling that way has been on bike. And that was mostly in Germany.
Why is that? Is that because of COVID, or is it just because of the path that you're going?
I definitely think it's both. Yep. But I also think that it's because it is more rare to walk this route. I thought there would be more people, or we'd meet more coming into Paris maybe. But I think I'm looking forward to see what happens here after Paris. And I'm also hoping that there will be more pilgrim hostels, because
you mentioned that on the intro video as well.
Yeah,
what's the difference, by the way?
It's huge. It's everything. When there was a couple of towns before, I forget the name. I think the day before Domans, the story with the camping site, I think one or 2 days before that, there was 2 pilgrim hostels, and there was also a cool story where it was a Sunday, and Sundays are the worst days to walk because there is nothing open.
Right.
So everything is closed. In terms of food to eat, usually, I mean, maybe if it's a bigger town, restaurants are open, but otherwise, if it's a small town, nothing is open. So I came in on that Sunday, So it must have been last Sunday, not yesterday, last Sunday. Yeah, so it was 8 days ago, or 9 days ago. And I came into town, and I was like, okay, I will probably find something, And it was one of those days where you realize there is nothing. There's nothing to find.
Shit.
Yeah. So then.
So what do you do?
Yeah. But those were one of those. We can get back to that because there's been a few miracles happening here the last since Belgium, where I was just looking around on my phone to see what options I had. How close is there a campsite? Is there a green area somewhere? And then there was an older man that saw me, and I sort of out of my eye, I sort of felt that he came closer, and then he spoke French, or he said, "Are you walking, Jacob's way?" Or in French. That's all I understood was Jacob, whatever he said, And then he said to me, "Down the road there is a pilgrim hostel," and I had not seen that because even though I had actually thought I had walked straight past it, but I had not seen it. And it was actually not on the path, the pilgrim path. But he said, "There's a code. You need a code." And I tried to understand what he was trying to say, but he pointed me down the road, and then he shared on his phone that there was a code to punch in to open the door for the place. Oh, so wow. I took a picture of it, and then I walked down and I found it. It was one of the pictures I sent you actually. Where there's a shell over my head on the picture. Right. Yeah, I came to the door, punched in the code, and I opened. And otherwise I wouldn't have any place to sleep. But that's usually those places, they have it's a nice little house kind of thing. They have a kitchen and kind of a dinner, kind of a, what do you call it, all together dinner, kitchen, dining room, whatever. And then bunk beds and showers and whatnot. So just perfect, has everything. I was the only one there.
So is that only for pilgrims? So is that only if you are doing this walk that you're allowed? So you need like a passport, the passport you showed earlier? You need something like that to prove you are a pilgrim?
And normally there's a restaurant open that is the host or the ones that has the responsibility or whatever. But it was not open, of course, that day. I had no idea how it would. I mean, it was whatever you want to call that, chance.
Coincidence,
so those, they cost between 5 and 10 euros, because you're a pilgrim. So if you walk in Spain, the pilgrim hostels are 5-6 euros. So you can quickly estimate that, if you spend 1 month walking and you walk to a new place every day, that's like no money. It's nothing.
Pretty cheap,
if you have to pay, so if you have to pay, that's why I'm also trying to use campsites often, because often it's just around 10 euros. But otherwise, it's 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 80 euros sometimes, But of course, if I really wanted to.
It's a big difference, man.
Yeah, if I really wanted to, of course, I could I'm just using my tent as much as I can. But I also know that I need to work, and sometimes I just don't want to deal with that whole stress stuff. And I have money coming in, so it's not like, the ship is sinking. So it's all good, and it's also part of the experience. And I'm like, okay, this is what I'm doing now. Whatever comes out of this must be good and must be for a bigger reason than money. So I'm also just trying to enjoy myself as well. So.
But dude, one thing is having a place to sleep. The other thing is, like you mentioned, you come into this town on a Sunday and nothing's open. What the hell do you eat?
This Sunday, I think it was the Sunday before that. It must have been. I think the week before that, it was the same situation. I came into a town, and it was in Belgium, or the 2 weeks before. It's so crazy. When I look back, just 2 weeks. 2 weeks ago, it feels like a year. It's so crazy. Like I looked just yesterday. I looked at. So I was actually there 2 weeks ago, and it feels like it really feels like so long ago. It's crazy. It's so wild.
Well, you're doing some long days too, man. Like if you walk, what's the longest day you've done? Because if you walk 20 to 25 kilometers, I can imagine, if you walk, that'll be about 5 hours, right? So if you're walking about 5-6 kilometers per hour.
Yeah. So 5 kilometers an hour is a good estimate. Yeah.
So have you done, what's the longest, craziest days you've done?
Yeah. So those actually kind of go together. So I was at a camping site before Düsseldorf. So where the Düsseldorf would be the next big town. So I was at a camping site and I was eating in a restaurant, and I was like, in Germany there's these A&E hostels or something, some fairly cheap priced hostels, and I saw that they had a room in Düsseldorf, but that was going to be more than 40 kilometers away. But I just wanted the stress to let go. I didn't want the stress in my head of where to sleep, so I just booked it. Fuck it. So also because then I know I'm motivated to get there.
Yep.
So that was a day where I woke up and I started walking. I think before 7, and I was there at 5:30 or something.
Shit. So you've been walking for 10 hours.
So that was an entire day. So that was where it was more than 40 kilometers. And what was then more crazy was that I was very stoked. I was very stoked on doing that. But then I had a day off. I was about to. I slept there, and then I woke up and I was like, I really don't want to walk today. So I got a day off. I took a day off, and then I just relaxed there and
get some Uber Eats, get some burgers,
and then the next period of time was crazy because that next morning I was like, that was a Saturday, I think, or I forget. Maybe it's Sunday. I think it was Sunday. Yeah. I came in on the Friday, stayed there Saturday, and I walked on Sunday, I think.
Right.
And in the morning, I decided, okay, I'm just going to see how far I can get today. That was sort of my mind was just open. Okay, I'm just going to see how far I can get today. Because it's Sunday and I don't have to work.
Didn't have and you didn't have anything booked.
Yeah,
no place to sleep.
No obligations. Yeah, no place to stay, and it also seemed like I had looked at the place because I was close to Belgium at that point, so the next big town would be Aachen, and that was just near the border to Belgium, but that was more than 80 kilometers away. So of course I thought, okay, that I can't. That's too far. But in between, it didn't seem like there was anything. At least there was nothing that was motivating me for booking or going to anywhere in between either. So I was like, okay, fuck it all, man. I'm just gonna see how far I can get today and then see what happens. Then in the afternoon, I started walking at 8:45, I think. And in the afternoon around 3:00, I found this beach area or whatever, which was just sand. There was no water, but this beach bar, whatever area. So I just had a break there and I was like, okay, what am I going to do? Because I need to figure it out. So I looked up the same hostel brand or whatever. They had a place in Aachen, and that was even cheaper. That was, I mean, I had only walked for 25 kilometers or something that day. So that meant that, I think it was 85 kilometers or something in total from Düsseldorf to Aachen. So I was like, yeah, that's far. When I sat there and relaxed and whatnot, but I was like, Gideon, fuck it. You need to see what you're made of. So I booked 2 days in Aachen the day after, meaning that on Monday, and this was Sunday. So I had to get there by Monday. So that meant, well, now I know I have a place to stay, so now I'll just walk.
Put one foot in front of the other, get going.
Yeah. So I decided to walk to Aachen right then and there that afternoon. And I had already seen that the pilgrim path. If I was here, Aachen was straight up, but the pilgrim way sort of curved around for some reason. I don't know why. So that's why from Düsseldorf to Aachen, it said in my estimation there would be 100 kilometers in total. Like when I looked at the data or the distance, in the pilgrim way would be 100. But then I was like, okay, if I can just go straight through whatever area that I can't seem to, that I don't know of, and I'll just do that. So I decided to just go straight through, and then my decision was I'm going to just walk until I'm there. But that meant that I had to walk another 60 plus kilometers at that point. And I had never even been close to 50. I mean, I had been over 40 or around 40 a couple of times.
Yeah.
But I just said to myself, you gotta see what you're fucking made of, you know. So I just decided to just do it, you know. I was just like, okay, fuck it. If I can do this, and you've been listening to David Goggins and these guys that has been on Joe Rogan and so on. I was like, if they can do things that they can do, I can fucking do this, you know.
Yeah.
So so I walked
over matter.
So the first stint was 3 hours without stopping, and then I went into this little town called Lis, or this very small town. It looked like there was nothing, but they had the nicest Italian restaurant, and there was this nice waiter that served me, and he asked me when I got there, because I was looking at, okay, this is going to be a long night, you know. So I was looking at just taking a long break there, and had a good dinner, but then in the early, he spoke English as the only one, I think, but he asked me, so why are you walking? And I answered, I just want to be a better man. And he looked at me and he put his hand on my shoulder, and we had this nice moment where, you know, he could understand, or he, you know, just this kind of man to man respect of, yeah, just want to be a better me, or a better man, or he could relate, or whatever. It was just a nice moment.
Profound.
So I had a dinner there and ice cream and whatnot, and filled me up good with. They gave me a free beer, so I had a lot of had enough energy to.
You had
last.
You had a beer.
No, alcohol free. Yeah, I've had several different kinds at this point. So it began to get dark outside, and I think around 9:30, I was looking at another 45 kilometers or something.
So you decided to walk all night?
Yes.
Shit, dude.
So
how the hell do you navigate to begin with? Like, are you using your phone?
So, yes. So I mean, normally I would, as much as I can, I would use the pilgrim markers, or there's a website that has it's not an app, but the path is sort of on the map, on the Google map or whatever. So I can always sort of find my way if I can't find the markers or whatever. But I used Maps.me because it could just, I didn't care at this point about what kind of route I'm just going to have to do the fastest one of these, or the shortest one. That was most direct, I should say. That was the one I used, and it was basically just through very empty fields and empty along farm areas throughout the both before I went to that restaurant, but also during the night. That was a very tough night. It was I had about 8 plus hours of walking, starting around 9:30, 10, and it was really crazy to realize that this is just going to smash me. Like, this is going to hurt so much.
Yeah.
And also during the night, of course you begin to get tired too, so being tired sets in. And
what about your mind?
Yeah.
Like, how was that?
Yeah,
Because
what was really nice.
Walking in darkness, man, I could imagine that would be pretty rough.
Yeah. What was really nice was that I had gotten connected to a nice woman that I've talked to a little bit, and we were on the phone for like two hours, so she helped me. We had just had a conversation for 2+ hours, and she sort of helped me throughout the night, to sort of, or at least for that amount of time to think about a bit about something else than pain.
Did you ever meet her?
No, we just she's in Denmark, so.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah. So so that was helpful. But of course, as it got later and later, people have to sleep.
Of course, some people do.
Yeah. So, but that was really tough. I mean, I really had to sit down and take breaks, and my feet were just in so much agony, and my like everything just began to hurt, and when you then get tired too, and it was not very comfortable at all.
No, you gotta listen to your body as well, man. How's the feet been holding up anyway?
No, good. I mean, I have something on my two of my pinky, and the next one next to it on my right foot has a bit of weirdness, but the legs themselves are machines now, man.
A bit of weirdness on the foot.
Yeah, I could kind of check them out these days, see if they can get better somehow. But yeah, I got to Aachen at 6:00 in the morning on the dot. I was there at 6:00, and I got my room. He was so nice, the guy in there.
Did you tell him you've been walking all night?
Yeah. He gave me a free chocolate. Or like a drink, hot chocolate. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
And I was able to get my bed right away, pretty much. So I just got up there. I took walking around like I was a dead monkey, and took a shower, and just lay down for a few hours.
You must have slept like a baby, man. No,
it hurt. And then it's morning, and then but yeah, I didn't do much other than the next day.
And how long ago is this?
So that was I think that was day 50. I came into Aachen day 50, so
gotcha.
12.
So nearly a month ago. Yeah.
No. Oh yeah. So that's true. Yeah, 3 weeks ago. Yeah. Yeah. So it's been kind of some monumental days. I think day 40 was what was that? That was a long day, maybe. And then day 50 was the longest day. And day 60, I came into France.
So can you sort of remember them by the day number, something that sort of stands out? So day 50 was a bitch, day 60 was really awesome.
If I look through the videos that I make, I'll know. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, usually I can remember a lot, but there's just so much happening all the time that.
I've just got your YouTube page up here. So you're you got a lot of videos, man. Have you done a video for every single day?
Yes.
Man, that is good effort, man. That is pretty damn impressive, man.
I mean, I did a combo of the day 49 and 50 because that was that long 80. Yeah, that was probably in total, that was 2 marathons.
Shit, man.
And that was day 49 and 50. So I made that into one video, but yeah. So
good effort, man.
Yeah, that takes work too. I mean, of course, it's really rough edited, and I'm not really spending that much time on it other than just making it sort of in a
Oh, but
sequence that is there it is.
but that's yeah,
Yeah,
that's totally cool, man. I mean, the fact
yeah,
alone that you're doing something like even that intro video, yeah, you're right. It might be a little bit rough. It might not be, the perfect audio, but and all that stuff. But who cares? Like, and it's super impressive, and it still sort of sums up what you've been doing. I can see most of the videos here about 4, 5, maybe 6 minutes long. Um,
yeah,
and the fact that you still take time out to do it is hats off,
yeah. It's
man.
crazy.
That's crazy. And you said you were working as well.
Yeah, so I'm working a few hours a day, 2 to 3 hours a day. Yeah.
And what exactly does that entail? Like you work?
So it's easy. I mean, it's customer service things and social media and doing some stats updating and
Yeah.
so it's very easy. So that's good. I mean, but yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy to look back on what's been happening.
Well, let's not look back, man. Look, let's try and have a chat about what's going to happen from here on, because you spend so much time walking, needless to say. You're just under halfway at the moment. You're in Paris. So what's going to happen now? What's on the agenda tomorrow?
Yeah, so I'll stay in Paris for 2 full days. I will. Yeah, I'm connected to someone here, so I'll get to meet her. We wanted through someone else to meet up.
Yeah, awesome.
So she's actually a Kiwi. But then of course I just want to see the Eiffel Tower, walk down the channel, and the channels here, and just have a bit of a break.
Do a bit of touristy stuff.
Yeah, but I gotta say I really look forward to leave too, and it's not because I don't really fancy cities. Cities to me are not very exciting at all. But what I look forward to is that now I can really look forward to the end, or to where I'm heading, because now I'm directly heading towards it. So far I've been heading actually not towards it at all. I mean, maybe a little bit, of course, because I'm heading somewhat south. I mean, maybe from France I have, but yeah, after this it's definitely straight towards Santiago. So the next big town is Tours. Taurus. Yeah. And then the Bordeaux is going to be the next, the biggest town after that. And that's going to be only a few 100 kilometers before I get to the real Camino, or to the final stretch. So
yeah.
That's going to be I think that's going to be, hopefully, I hope that with everything that's going on, it's going to be, that I can do it. So,
are you still affected by COVID in any way over there? Is there any sort of restrictions or anything that sort of indicates that things aren't as per normal? Are there any restrictions? Any sort of social distancing? Anything you sort of need to factor in?
Yeah, it's the same. It's the same. I think here in Paris, it's even more, I think. But I'm trying to stay away from it, to be honest. I don't even put it in my video. I don't talk about it in the videos because I don't want it to be a part of my journey, or this. It's not, to me, it's not what's important at all. So I'm just trying to focus on,
as long as it doesn't impact you. That's obviously the most important part. As long as it doesn't hinder you from going from A to B every day, so you can get from where you wake up till where you have to go to bed.
Yeah, no, there's no problem with that, and it's very nice to. I mean, every city. The bigger the city, the bigger the problem, kind of, because it's.
Absolutely. There's more people. There's higher density.
But it's also seem people are more relaxed. I think actually there's been a big difference in the fear. People, how afraid people are in Germany. People were really afraid. But in Belgium and France, people are not afraid in the same way. So it's very different.
Well, again, also like countries are affected in different ways, and again, yeah, people respond different as well to the unknown or the
yeah.
uncertain.
But it's very interesting. But it's very interesting how different it is from Germany to Belgium and France. I mean, people were like jittering on the edge of the chair of fear.
Right.
Like, and in Belgium and France, people are just more relaxed and they don't care as much, it seems. So
interesting.
Even though it's visible, but yeah. But yeah, so
Yeah.
but yeah.
Anyway,
yeah. So I just hope I can keep walking, and I'll do whatever I can to continue. And right now it's tomorrow I'm going to go to, there's this place called the Compostela 2000. So there's a association that helps pilgrims.
Yep.
And it's called 2000 because there's 2,000 kilometers to Santiago. And so I'm going to go there and get a stamp from them and buy another passport to attach to the two I already have attached together.
So again, so you're in Paris now for 2 days and gonna go sightseeing and have a look around and sort of being in a big city, and then you're back out in the countryside again, sort of a bit of solitude and just walking around in your own little bubble there. Or what's the what's the stretch, sort of the plan for the next couple of weeks? Can you hear me? Are you there? I don't know if we lost you.
Hello?
Can you hear me? Oh yeah, I think we just reconnected.
Hello?
You came back to life there. Can you hear me?
I'm here. Yes.
Good stuff. Yeah. So I was asking. So
yes.
Obviously, so you're in Paris at the moment, in a big city. You're gonna go sightseeing and stuff. So over the next couple of weeks, you're back. Like, what's the terrain looking like? Are you back out on the small roads again?
Yeah, I'm sure. And I actually look forward to the whole journey from here, because I think that it will be prettier and prettier. And I've heard that the Bordeaux area is going to be it's beautiful. So yeah, I look forward to see France this way. I like to be out in as much nature as possible. I mean, small towns are nice, but I mean, I could never live in Paris, for example, never. It's just too crazy. So beautiful city, a lot of history, but it's another European capital city. It's got busy lifestyle, a lot of history, old buildings and all that. But I could only imagine how different it would be to the landscape you probably see most of the time when you're out there. Yeah, definitely. The last week, I have been walking sort of in wine country. So there's just wine. What do you say? Grape wine fields or whatever all over the place. Just like if you saw any other country that had fields of whatever. This is just what do you say? Wine. Yeah, wine.
Wine. Yep.
And I've been sort of walking sort of on hills where they are, so I can look down in the valleys of where there are lakes and rivers and whatnot. So it's been quite beautiful, and just taking a bunch of grapes once in a while. They're so juicy, and it helps, for the energy as well. So
nice,
that's been good. But yeah, there was another story actually that I wanted to share, which was one of the miracle stories that happened in Belgium. I think it must have been the week before that. That one in that place where that man gave me or showed me that pilgrim hostel. What was it called? Duma or something. But yeah, I had walked without really having a plan, really knowing what was there. And I think it must have been a Sunday as well. definitely nothing was open when I came there. Well, there was a store actually. So I came into the town and it was sort of on top of a mountain, or like it's not a big mountain, but and I got up there and I knew this was the sort of the town I'd been shooting for. And I went past the supermarket and I was like, okay, cool, there's a supermarket open. And then I went down a bit further, and there was this government building that had the pilgrim marker outside of it. So that's always a good sign, because then they either stamp pilgrim stuff or they can get pilgrim's information. But that was closed because I arrived a bit late. So I was just sitting there trying looking for options, and I could see very fast, okay, there's no options here. The hotels were like at least 4 or 5 kilometers away, and some of them were in France, so I had to go into France to go there. And I saw there was a camp area or a site that was maybe the closest thing I could get to, which would make sense, you know. That was out in the open, so that it was not a campsite per se. And I was like, okay, so that I can do that. So the next focus is I need to work still, and I need to get some food. So I went back to the supermarket, and they had just closed. So I had nothing. I had a bit of fruit or something or whatever, but of course it was not a meal. And they had just closed. It was 7:00. And I was like, I mean, it's one of those times where you feel like, and there was just one part of that evening that I was like, okay, that was a bad hand. What do you call it?
A blow, a bit of a blow.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden when I worked, the internet didn't work. So I had to, couldn't get online to do the work I needed to do.
But is that something you have to do every day? Like, do you have to complete that work every day, or is it something that can be done sort of sporadically?
It can be done sporadically, but if I've been up walking all day, I need to do it later in the day.
Right.
And then it began to rain. And I was like, it's one of those times where you feel like, where you really get up towards the edge of your patience and your, why is this happening to me? And this is fucking shit. And, life is just the worst ever. So I sat there working, and I could do some of what I needed to do. And then, yes, it began to rain, but I was sitting underneath just outside the supermarket, but where they had the carts and stuff, so you could sit under there. Then, because there was a bit of a hill, or it was sort of going down, the rain began to come down, so I couldn't sit on my backpack, and then everything got would have gotten wet, and so all of a sudden I had to just stand up, and I had to move. I had to do something because it was raining. So okay, what do I do? So I just began to walk, because I needed to walk towards that camping place. But then it just started to pour down, and I hadn't even got my poncho on. So I just started I just ran like crazy down the street, and jumped into all of a sudden it was, because I knew that down at the government area, I knew there was steps into the door, so I could stand under there at least. But then before that, there was a bus stop that I just jumped into, because it had a cover. So I just sat there. It was dark, 9 or 10 in the evening. I just sat there like,
shit, man.
Nothing. There's nothing. There's nothing I can do. And I really just sat there. Okay, there's nothing I can do. And I was really pissed off. And the video of it, I can see what number it is, but the video of it, I really just sat there like, there's nothing I can do now. It's pouring down. I need to take a shit, and I have no food. There's nothing I can do right now. I think there's literally nothing I could do. I sat in a bus stop, and I couldn't even take a shit. I was thinking, okay, maybe I could do it on the side of this, steps next to it or something, I just sat there like, there's nothing I can do. It all just sucks. And then I was like, okay, there's nothing I can do. And then all of a sudden, there was this car coming on the other side. That those two older guys, and the driver let some guy out, and he opened the door into his house or whatever. And in the video, I looked. It was right when I was recording. I looked up over like, what's happening? Like, because
my savior.
Yes, but of course he didn't see me. But he went into the house, but he then saw me before I went in, I think. And because the guy who drove him made a U-turn around just the street in front of me and drove away, and he waved and he saw me there. And then he closed the door and he went inside. And then a little bit after he came out and sort of yelled something, I didn't understand. And then I didn't really get what he was saying the first time. And then he went inside or did something, and then he came out back again, and he yelled, so he sort of waved me over. And then I tried to explain through the translator app that I was a pilgrim, and I couldn't find anywhere to that I hadn't found any place to sleep. Then he invited me inside, or I went back over because I thought, okay, his response was, my interpretation was, okay, he can't help me. I just shared it with him. Now he knows, and he said my interpretation was, okay, he can't help me, and okay, fair enough. Or that he didn't do anything anyway. I mean, it was just like information,
Yeah.
So I went back over, and then he waved me back over again, and then he invited me inside, and I didn't really know what was going on. Then he tried to explain to me that he'd called somebody from the government building or whatever, I think. And then all of a sudden there was a guy outside, and he just told me to get into his van and so on. I just stood there between these two guys, and I had no idea what was going on really. But he did this, and tried to explain, so I just got into this guy's car. And he drove me to his house with his wife, and they gave me a dinner, and it was 10 past 10:30 maybe, I think, even. And they just gave me all this food, and we kind of talked through the translator app or whatever, and I got a nice place to sleep in. And the next morning they had left for work, so I was alone in their house.
What?
They had pilgrims in there before, so they had done this one before. So that's why they had the what do you say? The
the good faith,
in pilgrims. So, but yeah, it was such a. I mean, that was really a sort of a miracle. Yeah.
I was about to say, like I don't know why. I just thought about the movie Hostel. I was like, you're gonna get adopted now and gonna get tortured in some crazy chamber in a little country town in France or some shit, man. That's more like what was going through your mind at that point in time?
I mean,
like having this complete stranger coming out and waving you in, and you can't really talk to him, and like that must be, and you must be so tired. You said you had to take a shit, and like, he's crazy, man.
I mean, I knew that it was positive because the older guy had called and showed this, and and so I felt it was comfortable, like it was safe.
Yeah.
So I was not afraid of that. But it was just so amazing to again experience those kind of things and I think that's the pilgrim spirit that I'm looking forward to more, is that there is such a big difference between when you pay for a hostel or a hotel than when you are part of something where you are walking for a bigger purpose in life. And when people invite you in because they just want to be, because it's the pilgrim spirit is that we walk for something higher than for a higher nature,
I think I might have So I think I might have found the day here. It's day 59 and 60, where it says like your worst day of my life, and I made it to France or something like that. Is that the one?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Cool, man. So yeah, it's also a longer one. So it's 15 minutes. Well, I suppose, yeah, again, if you're wrapping up sort of 2 days there, that's a really cool story, man.
Yeah. So, but that's what I'm sort of. There's such a big difference there was also times in Germany where churches they and I think you could probably do that here too, but I don't have the list of phone numbers that I did in Germany. But when you are invited into a place because you're a pilgrim or whatever, and it's in that spirit or that sort of energy is just so. I mean, it's really special to be invited in because of who you are, and there's somebody who's actually having a trust in you or a faith in you, or there is nothing but trust. And that is really a beautiful experience to experience. Yeah.
I could imagine that must be sort of quite unique.
Yeah. So that's the pilgrim spirit to me, is that's the sort of that mutual trust. It's just there. There's no questions asked. It's just trust. And I mean, the day after that pilgrim hostel where I got that code thing, the next day I went to the restaurant and paid the rest that I needed to pay and got my stamp from them, you know. So there's just a trust, and that there's no corruption here. It's good. It's special. So I think that's one of the reasons why it's so special to walk, is that there's been times where I've met pilgrims, or maybe not people who are walking, but they've done the Camino in Spain before, and there was this older couple in Belgium just the day before Liège, actually, or the day when I went into Liège. There was this older couple that was sitting at a cafe, and I walked, you know, as I do, and he was looking at me like, you know, kind of a bit different than some other people. If they, you know, you could kind of tell that he wanted to, you know, he saw me as more than just somebody who walked, you know. And when people stop up and they sort of look at you that way, you kind of know that there's a reason. So him and his wife had walked from Liège to Santiago 15 years before or ago. So that was 2005. So they've done a long walk. So they invited me for tea, and we talked, and they tried to help me with a place to stay, you know, and I mean, we spoke enough English that we can have a conversation, and he also said that pilgrims, they just know, they connect, and there's just a connection, just like if with you and your musician friends and so on. There's, when you do the same thing or have similar experiences, you're just on frequency, and with pilgrims, it's just like so it's so amazing. Like there's nothing to be explained. It's just trust and frequency. It's very special. Yeah. So you feel like you have so many friends that you don't know until you meet them.
Very interesting, man. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
But so what's at the end? Like, because again, like we had a little bit of like when we spoke last time, we had a little bit of like an emotional conversation, sort of about, you know, not necessarily the whole purpose of the walk, but like, you know, the thing that, you know, I think you sort of were feeling a little bit lost in something. Now, because you'll be walking now for another probably 3 months at least, if I'm not mistaken, sort of with the whole sort of time frames and all that. What is it that you're sort of hoping to find at the end, or by the time you get there? What's the next step or the next adventure?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think it's really important that I really practice just enjoying everything I can about it. Um, it's yeah, I think it's very emotional
Mm.
always, and I'm in a consistent process. And the last 5 days have been. I mean, yesterday was good. Yeah, the last few days have been okay. Um, but I was in a very, very dark place a few days ago. I mean, um, and I, uh, yeah, uh, like 2 days ago, I walked and I was listening to some music and stuff, and all of a sudden I just began to yell like crazy, just like really like I was psychotic, like just starting to yell because I needed to get something out, you know, and I think that often is what is happening here, is that I'm consistently going into my dark chambers that I haven't maybe looked at, that I maybe suppressed, that is subconscious, that is whatever. And all of a sudden, I'm just there. All of a sudden, I'm just in that dark place, because that is the journey I'm on. That I'm consistently challenged with myself and my mind and my heart and my everything. Um, and that is, yeah, that is probably one of the reasons why I'm walking. I mean,
Mm.
to really be able to face the darkest that I can of myself, so that I know that I'm aware that that's also part of me, or that it's okay, or that I'm able to just at least look at it and be okay with it, or accept it, or
And was this
because it
like
is.
an sorry? And was this like a normal day? So as I mean, you weren't walking super long. Were you fully
That was
rested, recovered, and fed, and all that?
yes, that was fine. I had slept in a campsite, and that day, it was just a few days ago. And that camping site, it was just raining and wet everywhere. And fortunately, there was this old camping caravan thing. What do you say? It's not a camping in Danish. It's a camping wagon or a camping.
Oh
But
yeah, like caravan.
yeah, it's a caravan. But yeah, but that it didn't look like it was used or whatever. It was in the camping site, so I mean, somebody must have owned it, or maybe they used it for something. But they had this little outhouse shed thing sort of attached to it,
Yeah.
and the door to that was open. So instead of sleeping in my tent, which I paid for, was supposed to do, I slept in there. So it was the day it was a short day where I walked from there to a town called Mo, where it was a short day where I just went to a cheapish hotel, um, and it was a good day, and it rained and everything, but it was just a very short sequence of me just all of a sudden just having to yell like crazy to just get something out. Um, but I don't know if, yeah, but a couple of days before that, it had been even darker, man. I mean, I was really down and out, where I was like, okay, I'm just going to cut my wrist now. I mean, you know, uh, where
Wow.
because I'm very sensitive to what's going on in the world, and I'm very sensitive to at the same time what's going on with me, I think, and it's just all coming together like crazy. And and
But how are you
yeah, it
feeling?
just.
Like, are you feeling okay in general? Or?
Yeah, I mean, the day after, it felt lighter. And I think often it's yeah, we have to see those things. It's just like you have to go through some darkness to see the light, or whatever. And I think we all go through that all the time. Um, um, but I also think that, at least for me right now, I'm just literally going to the depth of it. And because I'm so in process, my body, mind, and spirit is in process every day.
Mm.
That I'm just naturally going there. and that's the beautiful part of walking too. I mean, that's one of the reasons why you are walking. I mean, you want to be a good man, you want to be a good guy, and you want to be all that stuff, and you need to be able to face those things.
But again, harming yourself is pretty dark.
Yes, it's very dark, and I know that it's obviously not something that no one should do. But I think that the reason why is because I have been up against it with many things, with many people. Throughout my life, I've never felt good enough, and the cycle I have been in the last 9 or 10 years has been very rough in terms of the relationships I've been in. Both the three that were with a woman, but also a couple that were, or a few that were with like friendships where there's nothing you could do. So I realized I have with the crap that I have dealt with, I have attracted women who seems very narcissistic, in the sense where they're very unempathetic to who you are and what you're doing. And of course, I have attracted that because I've had my things that were, not being good enough, and actually I thought about that. I've always trying to fight against the system, or fighting against things I could not change, like religion with my family and the system, and things I could not change. Those things I have been fighting, as a child and as a, young adult, and also as an adult, and fighting things I couldn't change all the time. And I think that has been sort of my issue, that I've been keep trying to fighting a battle that I couldn't win, because I'm not accepting that it's not possible to make a difference with those people or with those in those situations. So I think I've been sort of in a habit of battling something that I could not influence or win or whatever, and that has been very tough because in my last relationship, I know that I love her, just saying this, I know that I love her, but she can't, I realize that she can't, not because she can always say that she didn't want to be with me or whatever, but I've realized that based on all the thinking I'm doing on this trip, that she's been extremely unempathetic towards me. And I know it's not just something she has done towards me, it's who she is based on her life experience. So it's been tough to accept that I could not make a difference, and I can't make a difference regarding that. So when you really care about someone, that makes it even harder, because they don't even care about you.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I think along with that, that's been very, very hard to deal with. Yeah. And then,
but that is, again, I suppose, just to use a metaphor that we used earlier, that is one of the rainy days.
Yeah.
Because as you walk through life, like these are experiences that we need to cope with from time to time. Like, you have these things that hurt one way or the other, and it's just how you overcome them and how you deal with them, and ultimately keep moving, keep going. Yeah. You're obviously doing it like you are doing it, literally speaking, like you are walking. So that just makes that metaphor a little bit ironic, so to speak.
Yeah.
And in some ways, you could maybe even say that you are maybe trying to like walk away from it, because again, it is something like you. Or I suppose you could maybe turn around and say you're walking towards something new, something else. And it's just like I first of all, I've said that to you before as well. I really admire what you're doing. I think it's actually crazy that you've decided to just keep going, and you just dealing with all these emotions, and you're meeting like, just going through your YouTube feed, like you're meeting all these crazy people, and getting all these really, really interesting situations. And that again, would no doubt help shape you and change you, as you're saying, because you get in these situations where you're sitting at 10 o'clock at night and some stranger that can't even speak English calls up someone, and they come and pick you up, and you go and sleep somewhere, and you have this little village where a guy knows a passcode to a crazy place for pilgrims where you can sleep there. But ultimately, like this journey will finish. Like, you will arrive in Santiago in a couple of months. And like, have you had that thought about what would that feel like when you arrive there? Are you going to be super happy? Do you think you're going to be wondering what's next? Are you going to stay there for a while? Because like, I'm just trying to think out loud, because it's super fascinating.
Yeah. No, I'm thinking about that a lot, because that is the physical destination, but I know that every time I think about Santiago, but also especially the coast.
You mentioned that last time as well with that.
Yeah. So that's Santiago is the destination, but to me, it's not the finish. The finish is at the coast of Finisterre, where the 0.0 marker is there, and that this is it. There is no more walking now. It's the end. And yes, my heart smiles when I think about that, and I know it will be it'll be very emotional. It'll be very emotional. It is such a sensitive and personal journey, because everything is. I mean, I think I've grown closer to some people, even though I've been away now, because I'm getting closer to me, and yeah, it's. I mean, I just hope that. I mean, of course, it's a matter of enjoying everything that I can, because I'm not in control of what the hell is happening at the moment, and I think that is one of the things that just like I mentioned before, things I can't change. That is maybe one of the most important things that I hope I can live with or enjoy, that freedom, the freedom of just influence the things I can, and accept what I can change and those things. Yeah, I look forward to see France. I look forward to, I mean, the Camino, the French Camino the French way, which is the one I walked before, but I want to do it again because, I mean, if everything is going the way I hope it will, that I can finish and all this, it will be the most beautiful home stretch, just being down there again and just know that this is, be alongside pilgrims throughout the time and just experience this the end of this trip on the most beautiful area, beautiful path that I know, and finish. Yeah, I mean, who knows? I've talked to a few people about that. I hope that it will fulfill me, in the sense that I hope it will be that I will feel content, that I will feel full, feel full of travel, or full of that not because maybe I don't want to travel anymore, but just I don't feel maybe the need or the, that I'm content, that I've sort of filled up the cup, and maybe begin to create more. I would really like to begin to write. I really think that I can write something beautiful about this and whatever else has happened over the last 10 years. And I'd like to paint or draw or sketch, or maybe I think singing is something I'd like to learn, and maybe find a place I like to be, and and just get into the zone of creating. Yeah, I think that'd be nice. At least I've thought about that more over the last 6 months, but it's something I keep thinking about, that maybe this can help me to sort of beginning to really get stuff out through the arts, in some way.
But yeah, I think I told you that as well when we had our very, very first chat a couple of months ago, or many months ago, actually. I think that was back in April. Like the last 10 years that you sort of cover in that episode was again mind blowing. Like what you've done in those 10 years, the experiences, the continents you've traveled, the things you've done is something you should write down, because again, it's not only super interesting, it's really inspiring, and something that would potentially motivate a lot of people that would read it. And so is what you're doing at the moment. And the fact that you're putting up a video every day is super impressive too. And something you'd be able to look back to by the time you actually reach your destination and a new adventure will begin. You will always have this. But you're writing it down, and maybe even writing it down as you go, I'm sure would probably also sort of help you cope, or help you realize with some of these very deep emotions that you're going through. I just want you to be okay, man. I don't want you to do anything stupid.
I'm writing every day as well, diary. But yeah, I mean, I couldn't do this without the last 9.5 years of traveling. Then I wouldn't be able to do what I'm doing now. The uncertainty that's the challenge every day, the uncertainty of what's next and all that. But I also think that it really manifests a strength and confidence, and also the trust and faith in the unknown, that everything will be fine always. I mean, if or when I get, settle more down or find a place, or for a while, it could just be maybe 6 months or a year or whatever. I know that, I mean, having such a place is going to be, it's so easy compared to not having one every day, So I think there are so many things that will come out of this that I have no idea about in terms of strength and confidence.
No doubt.
And all that. So that's going to be interesting to realize, I guess, because I don't really know before this is over.
But that's again something you were mentioning when we spoke last time as well. The fact is, like, sometimes you walk out in the night, like you have no idea where you're going to sleep this specific day, this specific night, but everything will be okay. And that mindset is super strong, super powerful.
Yeah.
Because that again gives you faith in the unknown. And even though you're only halfway, then you obviously don't know what's going to happen over the next couple of months. But as long as you believe everything is going to be fine, and you have and you trust the process, then everything else doesn't matter.
Well, yeah, and what was so interesting about those 2 times where I really didn't have any place to sleep, both of those times I in some way surrendered to that I didn't know, and there's a lot of spiritual people or spiritual ideas that are about surrendering to the fact that just surrender that you can't do nothing, or there's nothing to do. And those are the times where things happen, just like when you meet the love of your life, or you're a new opportunity, all of that stuff comes often out of nowhere, even though it's probably the reason why it's coming is because you're sort of leaving a void for it to come to you, because you're surrendering instead of, expecting and forcing and and it was interesting because both of those times where I had no place to sleep, especially in the bus stop. I really decided, or I realized, there's nothing I can do. There's nothing I can do now. And 10 minutes later, while I was sitting there with the freaking recording, the Savior across the street was happening, and that was right when I had decided in the video, there's nothing I can do.
That is so cool, man.
It's so wild, and I would not have been sitting at that bus stop if it didn't start to pour down rain.
I'm just gonna bring that one up again. So if you want to watch that, so it's episode 50, day 59 and 60. I'll definitely be watching that after. I want to see that sort of clip. If you're just sitting there filming.
And across the street, I could that car came and that guy, whatever, and all that started happening. Yeah,
that's amazing. But that again shows you again that there is light in the darkness.
Yeah.
So again, just to use another metaphor, but
also not just light, but also see just there are people. There are good people. There are good people out there.
Absolutely.
And most of us are good people, and we all want to be good people to each other. And I think at this day and age, there's nothing more important than be able to be good to each other.
To be a good person always goes a long way, no matter what you're doing. Again, treat other people how you want to be treated is a very good old saying as well.
Yeah.
And something if you live by that, you probably going to be okay. But man, so from here, just to
yes. Mm-hmm.
So last time I spoke to you, as we started out by saying, was about 7 weeks ago. What if I want to talk to you again in about 4, 5, 6 weeks? Where will you be?
Then I'll have to see how far there is to Bordeaux. But I think that is less than 4 weeks. But it could maybe make sense to do it in Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port, but I'm not sure if what the internet would be like there. Yeah, Bordeaux is only 500 kilometers.
Stone throw.
Or maybe 600. But maybe it could be interesting to do it either there or just before or close to the last part.
Well, it's up to you, man. I wanna be in the loop. I wanna sort of document this from my end as well. I
think 2,000 kilometers from Paris to Santiago. So I know that there's 900 across Spain from Saint-Jean. So that must mean that around 1,000 or 1,100 to the border, or the French way of the Camino. So that means a month and a half.
Right.
So a bit more than a month. Yeah. But we'll figure something out. When I get closer, I'll know.
Cool. Well, man, it's been crazy hearing about your stories, man. And again, I think like the biggest takeaway for me is just the fact is that as long as you believe things will be okay, man, like never forget that. Trust the unknown. I know that sounds cliche, but trust everything will be okay. There will be dark days, there will be rainy days, but man, it's gonna be fun.
Yeah, and we talked about that in the beginning also when we started traveling or in Australia. That was the first time I began to understand that, or at least to begin to see how when you jump into something, when you just open yourself up to that the universe provide the answer or whatever, that makes it a lot more fun to live. So so a couple of days here and then straight south.
I think you need it. I think you need to just get a couple of days recharge. I know you're saying you don't like big cities, but have you been to Paris before?
No.
grab a day, go down and check out the Louvre or something. Like, it's a lot of like a museum, just hang out, chill, watch some, there's a lot of crazy history, French history. And you can easily spend a day there, man. It's one of, if not the biggest museum in the world. And otherwise, just enjoy the parks, man. There's so many beautiful parks.
And one of the most important things, I need new shoes. So.
Oh, I could imagine. Yeah.
So both heels are almost gone. Like, so.
Nice, man.
Yeah.
Well, look, let's try and obviously stay in touch. That's a given. But let's try and find out sort of a good time to get the next chapter and have another chat and see how you're faring out there on the European roads. And we're coming into autumn now as well.
Yeah. So I think that's not going to be a problem here in France in terms of the weather. I think that's going to be fine. But then the northern part of Spain, I'm a little worried if it's going to be too wet.
Right.
But I think it'll definitely make sense to have a chat before the last part and then at the end. So.
Yep. Absolutely, man. I can see we actually have just a quick one here. So we've got Kim, which is she's one of our regulars. She watches a lot of the shows here. She's saying she wonders if you if you'll turn back once you reach Santiago and maybe walk home.
No, that is not in the.
That's not in the cards.
No, it doesn't excite me at all, actually, to think about that. I think that walking back, then what I have thought about actually is that if I do feel like continuing, then I would continue down into Portugal. That I could potentially see myself do, but I highly doubt it still. But the potential there is to go out to the coast and then go down to Porto or something. But to just get one more country on the list of on this trip, but I kind of doubt it, but we'll see.
One step at a time, literally speaking.
Yeah,
so get to Santiago and
Yeah, I mean Porto would be okay in terms of weather, probably, or Portugal, but it's often when you get to the coast, you feel the end, and then it's like, why would I walk further now?
Then a new adventure awaits, man.
Yeah, there'll be a lot of I think the adventure hopefully will be digestion.
For sure, man. For sure.
And creativity.
One last question I thought of earlier when you were talking about. You mentioned you sent some stuff back that was in your backpack to make it a bit lighter. What's in your backpack? What are you carrying now?
It's very. I have a plastic bag of clothes, so all I wear is in a plastic bag. I wear the same shorts or the same pants or whatever every day. I have 2 different ones of these, and so I change those up, and then I have a bit of underwear and some t-shirts, and if it's a cool night, I have a couple of sort of wool jumpers and poncho. I have a tent and air mattress that seems to be not working as well anymore, and sleeping bag and water bottle. That's about it. So
travel light.
Yeah. I could probably. I mean, I have a computer as well. So I mean, if I could just walk without having to work or nothing, and there were pilgrim hostels all over the place, or if I didn't care about money, or sleeping in a tent, I could probably take up 4 or 5 kilos more. And I've already taken out 3 to 4, I think.
And it's easy enough
So,
to carry what you're carrying now then.
yeah. Like it just sits on my body, like it's always been there now, and my legs are machines, so I only have some minor issues with maybe a couple of toes or something, but it's just minor stuff.
Yes, but yeah. I was just thinking that, like, obviously after walking for about 2 months now, you must just be, oh yeah, it's just another day at the office.
Yeah, the legs are. I mean, they just walk. I mean, and that's also an interesting thing about that. From the beginning, if you have a far or a long day, or if it's raining, or if whatever conditions are that you don't feel positive or motivated, it's just ingrained in me now that there's nothing else to do than walk. I mean, you can. It's like it's more rare now that I get upset about if there's far to go than a month and a half ago, because I'm just used to that. Okay. I mean, yesterday I thought there were only 40 kilometers to Paris, but I then figured out after 10 kilometers that there were 7 more, meaning that I had to walk at least a number of kilometers to make it at least a decent shorter day today. And then it's like, what can I get upset about? I mean, it's my own mistakes.
It's just how it is.
I'm here. Yeah. It's how it is. I'm here.
Yep.
I mean, what else do you want to do, Gideon? You want to take a bike? It's not why you're doing this, I mean, so yeah, it's those habits are really, it's really nice to actually begin to really that. Yeah, you're stuck to the ground when you walk. So you're here and now, right now. So that's all you can do. It's just to do the walking. There are so many things that you learn, and I kind of look forward to sort of be able to comprehend, as much as I can of that, because I think that is
there's a lot of
it's a big recipe for a lot of good, because I really think that walking long distance is one of the most perfect things you can do in life in terms of learning.
Something you'd recommend?
Because I mean, you are challenged with yourself every single day. Whenever you're challenged, it's because of your own self. The more challenged you feel is because the more you need that challenge for yourself to learn whatever it is, and then of course the deeper you go, the more you open up to the things that you need to learn from this. And I think it's literally taking the steps that are for so long. I often think about this now, that whenever after this, even if I finished now, I would always be able to say, okay, I did this. So if I start any project, I know literally that I need to take the steps because I've done
exactly
it.
Right. That's exactly right.
And it's very obvious because we can know that intellectually, that is how it's done slowly.
Yep.
But when you have literally taken, when I'm done here, I've probably taken 4 or 5 million steps. I mean, but that is. I mean, every 800 kilometers is about, or 700 is about 1 million steps. So that means that when I'm done, when I'm done with this, I have at least 4.5 million steps under my belt. So that then I know physically it's ingrained in me that I've taken the steps to go somewhere really far. So that means I can always draw back on that experience with whatever I embark on and say, I can go anywhere if I just take the steps. And I think
that's nuts, man.
That is really crazy to think about. And I think that is one of the things I look forward to be able to have that as a foundation. Because a lot of people, to me at least, I've experienced a lot of people having a foundation, through an education, through, a skill that they had or whatever. And I think this is my education. I mean, the last 9 years, yes, that has given me a lot. But I think this one right now, that is my exam. I think that's my sort of my exam for myself, body, mind, spirit, for everything.
Yeah.
That's the foundation for me. Yeah.
It's deep words, man.
Yeah.
Profound.
Yeah.
Profound, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
But look, let's try and schedule in another chat in a couple of weeks, or a month and a half or something. And keep the momentum going.
Yes.
It's love to hear what's happening out there and how you're changing as well.
Yeah. Thanks. Yeah, thanks for this conversation. I think I look forward to. I haven't had many of these, and I look forward. That's also why the pilgrim. I look forward to meet more pilgrims, because you can share things with each other. Nothing is real before it's shared. It's one of the most profound quotes, from the Into the Wild movie. If you know that. But,
yep.
But you're sharing things with each other, and I think that's what pilgrims do when you walk, or when you have experiences with anything in life.
Yeah.
When you share it, it just becomes more real, and when you can do that often, it also makes the experience more real and just makes it more. So that's why I'm always really appreciate that we can do this, because it gives me a chance to actually put words on what the hell is happening.
My pleasure, and thank you for sharing and being so open about it as well.
Yeah.
But you're absolutely right. Like having a conversation or talking about stuff makes you realize, makes you connect with what you're saying a lot more as well. It's good. Absolutely. And again, I really appreciate it as well. But on those notes, man, I think it's time for you to relax a little bit, go have a shower, have some food.
Yeah.
And let's book in another time soon.
Sounds good, man. Appreciate
awesome.
it.
Take care. Sure. And stay safe out there, Gideon. Farewell, my friend. I'll talk to you soon.
All right.
Cheers, dude. Thanks so much for tuning in or listening along to the show. If you like the show, please don't forget to leave a 5-star review and subscribe to my social channels. It doesn't cost you anything, but it greatly helps me to build my networks and my chances of getting sponsors to keep this show running. If you want to take it to the next level, please head over to patreon.com/Stephen Helhammer and become a patron by joining the exclusive community there. You can start from as little as $3 per month. And for just a little extra, you get access to some fantastic features, outtakes, behind the scenes stuff, and much, much more. That's less than the cost of a cup of coffee per month. And that way you can help me build better content. I can devote more time to find awesome guests and just generally just keep everything flowing. If you want to be on the show or subscribe to my mailing list, send an email to steven@helhammer.com, and that is HELhammer.com. That way I can start sending you exclusive invites, random stuff, and messages that, who knows, you might enjoy. So that's it. Have a rocking day ahead, guys, and I will see you on the live stream or in your headphones very soon. Take it easy.